What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Kids Talk Sports podcast. And on today's episode, I've got a March Madness Final Four and National Championship recap for you. I'm going to be breaking down both teams' key and star players for that game, maybe some unexpected standout players, and what other teams could have done to maybe win that game. So let's get into it. I think it's going to be a very good episode. So first game we've got is the Final Four matchup versus the 4-seeded Alabama Crimson Tide versus the 1-seeded UConn Huskies. For Alabama, Mark Sears had a huge game with 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. I think he went 6 for 10 from three-point range. He was shooting very, very well. Alabama as a whole team on their three-point shooting was doing very, very well. Grant Nelson also had a huge game with 19 points, 15 rebounds, and an amazing poster dunk on UConn's Donovan Clingan. I thought Grant Nelson did as well as he could against Donovan Clingan, banging with him. I think he was definitely really tough because of how tall Clingan is, and Clingan is a very skilled player, but I thought Grant Nelson did a very, very well job. And then Aaron Estrada, I thought was a very, very underrated standout player in this game with 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. He hit a couple threes that were clutch for Alabama. But on the UConn side, Stephon Castle with 21 points and 5 rebounds. Donovan Clingan had 18 and 5 with, I think, 4 blocks. And Cam Spencer had 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. And I think the reason why Alabama could not pull out the win in this game is because UConn is such a dangerous team. They stick with you the whole game, and all of a sudden, there's about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Boom, they hit maybe, 1 or 2 threes in a row, they go by 5. All of a sudden, you look at the scoreboard, and you're down by 20 to UConn. It's just like, once they go on that run, you can't mount a comeback, and I think that's what happened to Alabama with about 3 to 4 minutes to go. They were in it. They were in the game. It was about a 9-point game, and then all of a sudden, UConn hit a 3, all the momentum was done, and then they just pulled out the victory at the end. So props to UConn. But I thought props to Alabama too, because I thought they played a really well game, especially Mark Sears and Grant Nelson. But Donovan Clingan and UConn, I think, were just too much. It was a great coaching job by Dan Hurley. And the key thing that helps UConn win games every single time is their huge runs that they make. It's absolutely crazy how they can make those runs. Even like that 30-0 run against Illinois, that was absolutely insane. So UConn advances to play in the national championship against the winner of NC State and Purdue. And the winner of this game was Purdue 63-50. So these games did go as expected. Purdue, Zach Edey is a monster. He had 20 points and 12 rebounds, along with the transfer senior from Southern Illinois, Lance Jones, with 14 points and 4 rebounds. I think he was the key to Purdue's season this year for that March Madness run. He was the key to their entire season. He could come up clutch, hit a big 3 when they needed it. He could handle the ball when Fletcher Loyer and Braden Smith were out. And he could do everything. And I thought he was just really clutch for Purdue in this March Madness run, especially coming from a small Missouri Valley Conference school in Southern Illinois, transferring to Purdue to play in the Big Ten in the national championship. That's a huge difference in skill level, and I think he adjusted to it very well. DJ Burns Jr., I think, disappointed a lot of fans. He had 8 points and 1 assist. But DJ Horn, man, I really like how DJ Horn plays. If you didn't know, I am an Illinois State fan. DJ Horn, a couple years ago, transferred from Illinois State to go to Arizona State. And then this year, he recently transferred from Arizona State to NC State. And he balled out all season, especially in March Madness, with 20 points and 6 rebounds. Him and DJ Burns were like their great 1-2 punch back and forth. But shout out to DJ Horn and Lance Jones for both affecting the atmosphere. And I mean, those, I think, are the 2 players I really love to have on my team. They were huge for their teams in March Madness runs, and they could step up when you needed something. So again, UConn defeats Alabama 86-72. From a strong performance from Stephon Castle, had 21 points. And Purdue defeats NC State 63-50 from a strong performance from Zach Edey and Lance Jones. And now, for the big game, the national championship game. This game was a pretty good game on all in all, Zach Edey for Purdue, 37 points and 10 rebounds. Dude, Zach Edey is an absolute monster. I do not think he can be stopped. I don't care if you have an 8-foot person. He's so skilled. He has such good post moves that I think Zach Edey just can't be stopped. I think he's going to be really special in the NBA. And Braden Smith might be my favorite point guard in college basketball. Braden Smith with 12 points and 8 assists. I just love how he plays. He can pull up from mid-range. He can knock down a three when you need it. He's a pass-first guard that can go get you a bucket when you need it. He feeds Zach Edey in the post very, very well. So if I was a coach, I'd definitely be looking for Braden Smith next year if he does transfer away from Purdue, but I do not think he will do that. But Braden Smith is the guy I would want on my team starting in the national championship game as my point guard because I think he's just an amazing player. And then on the UConn side, Tristan Newton single-handedly brought UConn back in the game. And just Tristan Newton, all I got to say about Tristan Newton. Tristan Newton single-handedly put UConn on his back and carried them to this national championship game. He carried them through this national championship game. 20 points, 7 assists. I think 18 of those 20 points came in the second half. Tristan Newton single-handedly carried UConn. And Stephon Castle, the freshman, who I think is going to be a really special player, had 15 points and 5 rebounds. Stephon Castle is a freshman, just a freshman. And Donovan Clingan, I think, is just a sophomore, so they're going to have them two back. They are going to be absolutely special. And I've got way too early prediction. I've got UConn going for the three-peat. I think I'd love to see a UConn Duke national championship with Duke getting guys like Cooper Flagg, and they're still going to have Jared McCain and stuff. I think Jared McCain declared for the draft. But I would love to see Cooper Flagg compete against Donovan Clingan in the national championship. So, to wrap up this episode, UConn defeated Alabama 86-72. Purdue defeated NC State 63-50. And then UConn defeats Purdue in the national championship game. And to wrap up this episode, I've got a new question of the week for you guys to answer. And I have some shout-outs to give. So, the question of the week is, did you get your bracket champion prediction right? So, if you picked UConn, tell me down below who you picked to win your national championship. And tell me if you got it right. My bracket was busted in the Sweet 16, I think, because some team named Iowa State lost to Illinois. Yeah, that was bad. And I had Iowa State and Marquette, and I think they both got knocked out, so my bracket got busted fast. But if you want to answer this week's question of the week, go to my email, and my email is talksportswithmason@gmail.com. Again, my email is talksportswithmason@gmail.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And before we end this, I got some shout-outs to give to you guys. So the first shout-out goes to Ensley, who said, they think that UConn and NC State are going to win, and then that UConn will go back-to-back. On the women's side, they thought that UConn will end Caitlin Clark's amazing run. She was unbelievable, dropping 40 on LSU. So they got the UConn prediction correct, not the NC State and other UConn prediction, right? But shout out to Ensley. Thank you for answering this week's question of the week. The next shout out goes to Keegan, who said they think that it's going to be Purdue over Alabama in the national championship. Sadly, they got Purdue right. Sadly, Alabama wasn't in that. So shout out to Keegan. Shout out to Theo, who said they think UConn will win the Final Four. And they said, what is my least favorite college basketball team? My least favorite college basketball team has got to be Duke. I'm going to say my least favorite team in general is probably Michigan because they defeated Alabama in the college football. And also Michigan is Michigan State's rivals. But college basketball for a specific sport, I have to say Duke. But my least favorite college team, definitely Michigan. And then shout out to Chandler, who said that his favorite sport is baseball to watch. So thank you, shout out to Chandler. So shout out to everyone who answered last week's question of the week. And I hope you answer this week's question of the week, and I hope you enjoy this episode. And don't forget to go check out my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is GameWithMase, no spaces, capital G, capital W, capital M. Again, GameWithMase, no spaces, capital G, capital W, capital M. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time.